The signs of capitulation are there for the crypto bulls. In today's video, we're going to have a look at how low price could go and what type of capitulation event are we potentially looking at. Is this going to be a spike lower, aggressively lower in a traditional capitulation sense, or are we going to go through time-based capitulation? We'll discuss that in today's video. Smash your like button and let's get straight into the show content. You can see, of course, on the banter bubbles over here, the liquidity is gone, right? Especially at this time of the year, coming into the, final 2 weeks of the entire year. Most people are switching off around the world. Some of the US markets are still aggressively open. We know they mostly take their breaks in June, but a lot of the market is closed, right? Not too many people trading, and consequently, you just see the slow bleed towards the downside. And it's a very tricky market to trade. But I, as always, have said, when you're in a low volume environment, it's time to pay attention. Don't go anywhere, because that is where you find some of the best opportunities. You need to be able to withstand the boredom and be able to stick through till the end. So we'll talk about what type of capitulation there could be. We'll also talk about one signal that we haven't seen for a very long time flashing on the charts. And then we'll also have a look at where there is a bull market. There's always a bull market somewhere, and it's still in gold, right? So gold still consolidating over here at these highs. I think you'll be very lucky if you get another pullback down. I'm going to just highlight that area into this zone, bringing gold back down to about 4,160. Even better if you come down to 4,129. I only got 50% of my long trade filled off of this trade idea over here. At the end of the day, I do still think that gold looks primed to move higher and to eventually break out of this. And we saw the same thing over there on silver. Silver consolidating multiple candles over here at these highs does suggest that it's probably going to continue to extend this run up to that 2.618 fib extension for silver. That brings you just shy of $70. The number would be $69 over there. Then we have to have a look at some of these stocks. I've made one change after yesterday's change, and I'll go straight to it. It's Apple. Apple, remember yesterday I said that it's looking like it wants to start to move back up. I think I'm just going to cut the position. I did. And of course, in traditional trading fashion, it moves straight after you cut that position. Of course, we took a 0.7% loss on that trade, which is absolutely nothing. And consequently, I've just re-entered it, right? So I've re-entered it. Now I'm putting my stop just above this high from pretty much yesterday's candle. That'll be yesterday's high at 280. So minimal risk on this trade over here. If this is going to be the breakdown of that rising wedge coming into the top of the parallel channel, we could be looking at a deeper move down of percentage-wise. That would be about a 15% downside move on Apple. So some of the Magnificent Seven stocks are starting to show some small signs of weakness, and there is a catalyst for this week. Remember, it's the Bank of Japan interest rate decision priced in at a very high probability, or being priced in, I should say, right now, because the markets are forward-looking, being priced in that is going to be an interest rate hike, and consequently, a lot of people probably want to de-risk, even in the traditional market sense, especially as you close off the trading year. So therefore, you may see a bit of a pullback over here. We don't have any confirmation of a breakdown yet. This is very, very preemptive and early in terms of us trying to get into this position. So that's what I'm looking at for Apple. Let's quickly go to the stock markets. S&P 500, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and the Russell. And S&P holding up above the yellow box. That's our support level. You want to see that consolidation over there. Dow Jones still looks fine. QQQ starting to threaten this, right? So you're starting to see some of that weakness in the tech stock sector. Hence also, of course, the Apple potential short trade over there. So we'll see. Bob and weaving, it's a choppy range over here. You are range bound for the most part between 587 and up to that 635, but you'd like to see price hold above this yellow box over here to maintain that high and high low structure. We have the Russell over here also starting to show some choppiness and weakness within the market, and this one's range bound between 3,771 and on the downside 3,578. So chopping about over there. You do have major support if this one does break down. So I guess be careful that this doesn't begin to roll over. You can see it looks like a bit of a parabola that is rolling over towards the right-hand side over there. And if that does happen, there's going to be a lot of liquidity with a drop like that, and that may affect the rest of the market. We'll quickly go to NVIDIA. Look at that weakness, right? This is showing weakness. This is actually a serious warning sign. The fact that you've chopped about over here and you've now come and broken back below that level with a perfect bearish retest. This tells me that there's extremely high probabilities right now that NVIDIA is actually going to come all the way back down into this pocket over here between the 0.382 and the 0.5 to give you the NVIDIA price level. Well, that would be between $135 and $147. So giving you about a $10 range, give or take, into those previous tops, that breakout level. High probability right now that you're going to come back to test that. We have Tesla, however, which is extending its gains, looks strong. We spoke about this one yesterday. We'll go to Meta quickly. Meta still mostly weak, chopping about over here on the daily. Will it maintain this uptrend? I think you need a bit more time to tell, but it looks weaker rather than stronger if you have to pick a side, right? We've always got to pick a side somewhere. So weaker rather than stronger. Microsoft also looks weak over there. We have Alphabet, which is Google, still looking strong. This is our little LARP line trajectory over here. So still maintaining that uptrend, but we would say that the 261.8 fib extension at $349 is going to be the next major target. So this is one of the ones that does still look relatively strong. So what we'll do, let's rearrange this and we'll put the stronger things on the top, and then we'll just go through and readjust. So in terms of the Magnificent Seven, right, we got Amazon also looking weak. So is this not interesting? I think it's pretty interesting. It means that if you're looking at these top 7 over here, there's only 2 out of the 7 that look strong, and the other 4 out of the 7 are starting to weaken, which would have implications, meaning that, you know, you could start to see a rollover effect over here on the S&P 500 as well as the NASDAQ coming down. So something that we do need to consider over there. And maybe Bitcoin was leading that weakness. That's a real possibility. Coinbase down 6.37%. Pretty brutal over here. Will it stop? That's the question, because this is an aggressive move towards the downside. And will it stop over here at this parallel channel, hitting that lower boundary? I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. I think this is quite a strong move towards the downside. And the bears hold ample momentum over here. So I think that I'd be looking for price on Coinbase to probably move through that level and probably find stronger support over here at about 173. So still weak until you can get back above those previous lower highs. 286 is the number to reclaim. Before I continue, before I go through the rest of the content over here, go through quickly and smash the like button. Once you've done that, go through to the poll. Serious question for you guys, right? What are your thoughts? Honestly, what are your thoughts? Many believe that are viewing the high time frames, people that look at things like the monthly time frame, these are macro investors. They believe we're in a flat correction within a bull market, meaning it's extended and the bull market's going to push all the way through to like 2026, possibly even 2027, where you'll see new all-time highs, and the cycles have changed, right? Then you have other people that believe we're just in a deeper correction within an extended cycle. So very similar to option number 1. They just don't believe it's a flat correction. They believe we're going in for a deeper correction. But ultimately, we're going to resolve higher and we're going to see new all-time highs in 2026. And then maybe after that, we go into a bear market. Therefore, they subscribe to what they're calling now the 5-year cycle, the super cycle, the 5-year cycle theory. And then you get the others that just focus on the normal 4-year cycle, 3 years up and 1 year down, saying that it's a bear market, which is 48% of you. And then, of course, we've got other theorists out there that have other things. So if that's you, 4% of you, you need to let me know in the comment what that other theory is, right? Don't just click that button. Let me know in the comment section. So everybody go and vote over there. While you vote, do smash the like button over there. Drop me a nice comment. Tell me if you think I look good today. I would appreciate it. I need a confidence boost. And let's continue with the charts over here. So I'll summarize my thoughts as we get closer towards the end of this video. So that is Coinbase over there. Circle, right? If we have a look at Circle, still downtrending, absolutely brutal, lower lows and lower highs. Robinhood over here, also starting to show weakness. Is this the start of a trend shift? That is the question, right? Is this the start of a trend shift? Because at the end of the day, you have those highs, you put in a lower high, put in a lower high, you've created new swing lows. Of course, if this starts to break down and flip 115, which is the current level, into resistance, which means you do need to create a new swing low. The recovery for Robinhood bouncing up into this 115, 120 region, creating another lower high would probably mean that this is a full trend shift and this is starting to roll over, and you want to be careful of that, right? I'm just highlighting the facts over here. And unfortunately, I covered 75% of my MicroStrategy trade. And of course, it's coming down. This is following an announcement that MicroStrategy bought a massive amount of Bitcoin once again, right? So not even getting that complacency bound. So we are holding that one MicroStrategy short trade over here. We're up over 1,000% on that trade, and we entered all the way at the top here. Price has already moved in favor of that trade. And I mean, what's crazy about this will be, in my opinion, we actually entered this a little bit too late. 47% down. I told you way back that you have an Adam and Eve chart pattern over here, which is a canary in the coal mine. We saw it in 2021 as well. There's your Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, you've now broken that neckline. Your hopium case is that you're going to get that relief rally back into the neckline, which is where I put that 0.382 Fib retracement and the 50% level. That would be back testing into that neckline as underside resistance, and then probably continuing its journey back down towards about $50 over time. And this was exactly what we saw back in 2021. And I highlighted this in real time, right? You can go back on any of those videos. I know most of you have been here since the beginning, but same thing, Adam and Eve pattern. We said this is a canary in the coal mine when it comes to specifically Bitcoin and suggesting ultimately where Bitcoin is going next. So we've got that covered. We've been through, I think, absolutely everything major over here. Let's quickly look at the VIX, which is starting to spike a little bit now, not too much. It's okay. The VIX is okay, but of course, if those things start to unwind, magnificent 4 out of the 7 are weak over there. Stock market begins to roll over. We're seeing crypto lead as it's always higher risk. Then you will probably get a bit of a spike up over here on the VIX. So let's move on to what's happening on the dashboard over here for whale trades. We can see over here the skew is more or less the same as what we've seen for weeks and weeks upon end, which is a negative 3.75, showing you that shorts maintain control. We expect that when this skew gets a little bit out of control, which is anything about 5, 6, 7, 8%, the closer you are to 8, 9%, the higher confidence you can have that the bears would have run their course and the skew is going to rebalance. And therefore, you look for a major low to form. Are we in that environment yet? No, not yet. We're negative 3.7%. It's not that significant. We're already getting those capitulation-like signals in the sentiment, dropping down to 11, right? So we're technically hitting, in terms of mindset, capitulation, right? I can see you guys in the comments as well, right? Look at this. I mean, people have been hurt so bad that they turned gay. That's one comment over there. And we have a lot of stuff. We have another guy, he's 𝗕𝗅𝗙𝗃. Insert the 𝗕𝗅𝗙𝗃 meme. There's a lot of things going on over here. So I'm sure you guys can agree with me on that. Looking to the liquidations, right? Looking to the liquidations over here. 24 hours, we've got a bit of a spike up. Decent relative to what the low volatility has been for the last couple of weeks and months. Sorry, guys. You guys are making me laugh in the live comment section over there. So relative to the last couple of months, yes, decent spike up over here. 653 million, of which mostly longs were liquidated over there. But the daily exchange volume, another canary in the coal mine, continues to diminish. And it's pretty much impossible to have any sustainable rally or relief without this moving back towards the upside. You need this thing to start to pick up again. And it's not. It's going down. Look at the all-time over there. This is just absolutely cratering. And you can imagine drawing a little bit of a diagonal trend line into play over here, an upsloping trend line. You're probably about to break that. And if you do break that, crazy. You could be coming all the way down back to the 2023 lows over there, which is 11.57 billion. Brutal. This means liquidity is being removed from the market. Remember, what is volume? Volume is the lifeblood of the market. So think of human anatomy. How do you operate with no blood? You can't, of course, right? What's going to happen? Nothing. You're just going to fall flat. So ETF flows also very, very, very flat. The whipsaw effect of the massive inflows to outflows is starting to slow down, and we'll continue to monitor this to try and find a major bottom, but we haven't seen anything over there yet. That's BTC. There's ETH over here. Looks very similar. And then we can just go to ETH on the daily, BTC on the daily, outflows, while MicroStrategy has inflows. So MicroStrategy are finding themselves in a very difficult place, and that is why price is down another 8%, even after they made a massive buy. Now this is looking like a confirmed lower high, which means, unfortunately for the MicroStrategy bulls, you may not even get that. Remember I said this would be lucky. You may not even get that. Dangerous territory over here for MicroStrategy bulls. Good chance that this continues to just melt down. And yeah, that's that. Alrighty, let's have a look over here. If you want to calculate how badly down you are and how much you need to recover, I did create a calculator for you guys. You can put in whatever your number was. Let's say you had $10,000 once upon a time, and now you only have $500. That would mean that you are down $9,500 or 95%, and you need 1,900% profit to get to break even. Alternatively, you can use this in the other way, and you can also see, well, what happens if you went up $20,000? Congratulations, you made 100% profit. Okay, cool. So we've created some cool tools for you over here. Let's see our calendar. Anything interesting that's coming up? Building permit numbers. That'll be helpful to see what's going on in the 18.6-year cycle. We got the non-farm payrolls. That's also coming out later on today. Retail sales, unemployment rate. So there is some data. There's a lot of important data coming out today. We'll see what that does for the stock market. Maybe a little bit of de-risking there as well. Let's go to the data hub. Just need to quickly see if we have anything of interest that we have to look at over here. How's our RSI heat maps? Most things probably moving into the weak territory, neutral to weak. So bears are in control. And let's quickly check our flows for the top 50. Where's the money going? Still a little bit going into Zcash, but there's almost no inflows. Pretty much a strong selling across the board. Biggest selling coming in Bitcoin, followed by ETH, pretty much in accordance with the market cap, right? Whales, what are the whales doing? Well, we have actually still a whale that's maintaining a long on ETH. I told you yesterday I'd update you on the long that I had on ETH and whether I would close it. I said I wouldn't long ETH yesterday if I were you, but if you got the original entry that I got, it's probably worth maintaining and holding that position because we're up, right? And we're still up. If you look at over here, up 3.66%. So if you entered now, you're going to get in at a very similar price to what I did. I won't really allow this thing to draw down into the loss zone, but it's worth giving it a chance because we're as close to the low as possible. And we'll see, is this guy going to get rinsed or not? Highest risk position right now is someone shorting with $9 million almost on plasma, which is unbelievable because if you look at the plasma chart, that thing is rinsed. Let's quickly go to plasma. That thing is absolutely dead. It is, shorting after a move like that with $9 million seems a bit wild to me. That thing can easily squeeze now. So I would never short something like this, by the way. Let it bleed out, of course. Don't buy it. But shorting it now, unless that guy's mega in the profit and he's just trailing a stop loss, maybe that makes sense. We don't know his entry position over there. All right, cool. So that's it for the whale trade side. Let's move on. Is it going to be a 4-year cycle? Should I rather say, is the 4-year cycle theory over? Well, according to Fidelity, it is. You got to trust the banks, right? Up to you. If you want, comments below. Super cycle, you can see over there. Investors says, believe we could be entering a super cycle. For reference, a super cycle in commodities in the 2000s spanned for nearly a decade. Let's go check what you guys think quickly. So we have about flat correction and in a bull market, 16% of you, deep correction in an extended cycle, 33% of you, which is a little bit possibly more than half, right? At least half of you believe in this theory. You believe in this theory over here. What I would say to that, because I'm obviously not here to insult 50% of people, of course, each to their own. What I would say, though, is if that is your theory, in my humble opinion, I would not allocate any new capital into the market unless at minimum you started to establish an uptrend. And right now you have your moving averages all expanding away from each other. And this is pretty much a strong downtrend right now, very strong downtrend. So if you were going to allocate more because you subscribe to that theory, the sweet spot, I'm going to give a broad range because you're somebody of a high time frame thought process. You're thinking out years in advance. So I'm sure you can forgive me for not giving you precise to the millimeter entry or to the tick. I would say that you want to probably allocate, if you believe in that theory, within that zone, because this is your previous highs from 2021 in April, 2021 in November. The all-time high price came down. We consolidated for a long time, ran up, tested that, ran up, and you're probably going to come back for this level. And yes, this will elicit a technical bounce. Absolutely, there will be a technical bounce. This is going to be your zone. That's a zone between $60,000 and $74,000. I'm giving you quite a large range, $14,000 range. But if you are a high time frame believer and you believe that this is coming next, I don't know, right? I can tell you which side I lean towards, but I can also tell you that I don't have a crystal ball and I don't know with certainty, with 100% certainty, what's going to happen. Because if I did, I wouldn't be sitting here, right? I would probably be a quadrillionaire, because I just go all in and borrow as much money as humanly possible and just go all in. This is trading. We don't know for certain. We're looking at the probabilities. Probabilistically, this should bounce price. And then I would buy that. And then you can establish after that, hey, what happens next? But in order for that super cycle, or right translated cycle theory to play out, you would basically need to see a new uptrend reestablished, which means probably within this vicinity, you're going to be looking for quite a long-term reaccumulation. That reaccumulation could take a year, just to be precise over here. Then, you know, within this zone over here, this could take 6 months to 1 year easily to reaccumulate, if this is going to be a right translated cycle and you're going to break to new all-time highs, and we're going to see $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 Bitcoin. So therefore, of course, I don't subscribe to that theory. I subscribe to the trend theory, and the trend is down. And you can see, if you compare Bitcoin market cycle peaks and the return on investment from peak to trough, well, we're following pretty much exactly in accordance with that. We are the pink line over here, and we did the same exercise for the entire bull run, and we tracked it all along the way. And now we're doing the inverse of that, which is tracking it down. So if you can diverge away from this trend, and the pink line can start to move back towards the upside and break away from the green and the orange, which is 2021 bear market, or the coming off the top in 2021 into 2022 and 2023 found the low. And likewise, with the orange one, was coming off the 2017 highs, 2018, 2019, you found your bottom. You basically went down for 1 year. And I must say that this is the theory I subscribe to. And that's what I'm doing with my capital, which means I'm fully cashed up, as you guys have known for a very long time. And I'm only taking independent trades here and there, which are the ones that I cover here on the show, as well as in the Discord, right? In the Whale Room Discord. All right. So capitulation-like signals, we're seeing the hash rate drop off quite aggressively, something that we haven't seen for quite some time. So the hash rate is dropping off quite significantly. If you look at that raw hash rate, it's coming down. When it does diverge like that and it starts to come down for quite some time, there's a chance that you'll start to see a capitulation-like signal. So not only are you getting capitulation in the, and we'll just refresh that, not only are you getting capitulation in the sentiment, which we're seeing over there, you're also starting to get capitulation signals from the miners, meaning that maybe they're not as profitable as they should be. And consequently, you know, we came off the last capitulation signal, went into a buy signal, and it pretty much failed. So miners are struggling. USDT dominance, there's always a bull market somewhere. Bull market in gold, I'm long gold, right? Bull market in a couple of these other stocks that I'm long on as well. And then bull market in USDT dominance, which I'm also long on. And it's been a phenomenal trade. So that's why don't lose sight, right? We spoke about this. As soon as you started to test this, you know, multi-year trend line, the yellow one that's running up the screen over here, every single local top for Bitcoin and crypto, and even cycle tops, depending on which one you're looking at, has occurred by testing that trend line. We tested that trend line. We had the downsloping trend line. We recovered the yearly open, and that was the signal, right? As soon as you started to spend time around here, that was the signal. This has been an insane trade. I mean, if you treated this as a normal trade, you're up 50%. 50% USDT, right? That means that you could probably buy 50% more crypto, which is significant, very significant. So what are we having now? What are we experiencing now? Well, what you're experiencing now, if you're treating this as any other chart, 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart, 1-hour chart, your favorite altcoin, whatever it is, and you saw this pattern playing out, you would be looking at the downsloping trend line, which broke. So you broke back above that. You're coming in for the fourth test, which is always significant. Following a break of that downtrend and consolidating into that, it highly, highly, highly increases the probability that this thing is going to melt through. All right. That's the truth. Very, very likely you're going to melt through, which means more pain. This moved into that 8% region over here, probably drops Bitcoin into the 60s. If you're lucky, 70s, right? Low 70s. But if you extend the bull flag, which I'll show you on the daily breakout, you're talking about 60s, right? It could be anywhere between $60,000 and $69,000 becomes probable as a target. And that's what it would look like. That is your pretty much textbook perfect bull flag on a daily, which lines up with a bullish order block in the yellow circle of their multiple candles on a weekly basis, consolidating next to each other. Alrighty. So that's what you have over there. Bull flag, right? Bull flag. If that breaks out, it's taking it up to about 8.1%. The primary target area that I have, however, is going to be, call it 8%, 8% on the nose over there, because this is your previous bearish order block that led to that big breakdown. So I do believe you'll find some resistance over there on that USDT dominance. Alrighty. Okay, let's move on. So we got that over there. And then the opposite, right? Look at that. Bull flag on USDT dominance. There it is. Bull flag on USDT dominance. Price moves up, creates the pole, flags, and almost confirming, right? We need probably a little bit more confirmation over here, which we would get this week if it is going to follow through. You should get it in the next couple of days, but you're starting to breach the top side. And then you have the inverse on Bitcoin, which is the bear flag. And you can see that takes it down to around $61,000. You've got candle closes. You got one full candle close. If you get two more candles that open and close next to this candle and don't immediately recover back above 90,000, unfortunately, that's going to break down. That's going to be your confirmation, and down you go. Okay, so let's see. What else? What else have we got over there? Same thing, looking at the volume chart over the last 1 year, you can see the pink and blue lines over here. This is a volume profile, so it shows you where the most amount of Bitcoin traded hands, meaning it's a big psychological level within the market, all coming in at $95,000. Between there and about $97,000, that was the level to reclaim. The first attempt failed. And same thing, just showing you, look at that drop off in volume over here. So all of this couldn't be trusted. I told you that over and over and over again, right? You just couldn't trust any of these price moves towards the upside when the volume is diminishing. So theoretically, you could be opening up short trades over here on Bitcoin for the move down. Now, remember, shorting to make bank serious money is difficult. All right, it's very difficult to make it because it's tricky, because remember when you're taking a short trade, most of the market always thinks in terms of longs, which drastically increases the probability that you'll get short squeezed out. That's the first thing. The second thing is shorts play out really quick, which means they're going to be small moves. They're not long-term swing trades that you're going to hold over time. And I did a whole lesson on this for the 𝗬𝗏 members on, for example, why this is the case, right? For example, in order to get a 50% upside move in Bitcoin, you could have just bought spot, no risk, no leverage involved. We always want to decrease our risk. The only way that you can short trade is with leverage, unless you want to take out options, which is anyway a form of leverage. But that would have created a 60% move, right? So if you wanted to start to short this now, and you're going to short it down to 60K, you're going to get a 30% price move, but it comes with a massive amount of risk. So of course you can allocate part of your portfolio into this, which means if you're on 2x leverage and you got a 30% price move towards the downside, you got essentially the same trade as the leg up from here to here, which is a 60% move, because 2 times 30 is 60, right? 60% price move. But you would never take your whole account, you would never take all of your money and put it into a short trade, right? Because then it's exposed to leverage. Although some of you would do that, and that's probably why you're applying to McDonald's right now. But if you wanted to last a long time, you shouldn't do that, right? If you want to survive in the market, you'd only take a small amount. However, you would take a large portion of your account in spot because it's just sitting there and there's no risk of getting liquidated, and you can ride the price move up for 60% gain. And that's the difference in positioning or position sizing for longs versus shorts. Even though you know that the market is going to go down, sometimes the best trade is to just sit in cash and buy it when it gets down to those low levels for the technical bounce. Okay, cool. I hope that covers that for you. So therefore, we're looking at price action over here, low time frame. Don't confuse high time frame to medium to low. We're very low time frame now. We're looking at the hourly chart over here, and on the hourly, basically, price has just been range bound. There we go. It's range bound. In terms of the bigger picture, well, breaking and confirming below this trend line over here, bigger picture, medium, high time frame means you're breaking down the bear flag. So you need to put all the puzzle pieces together and understand things in relationship to each other. So in relationship to the bigger picture, that means the bigger picture is down. It's in a downtrend. So although you're hitting a technical level of support that could elicit a bounce, theoretically, your best trades over here are going to be short trades. And if you zoom in, because you hit the 0.618 and 65, therefore your golden pocket at $85,400. Tagged it, you can see the support forming. These are low time frame technical traders trading that exact zone over there. So therefore, I believe that the better trade over here would be the short trade now, whereby anything that runs up, into this territory over here, you have some of these fair value gaps that are going to be inefficient. If you get any kind of a wick up over here, it's logical to be placing your stop above the Monday high. That is going to be the bearish order block that broke price down. Therefore, price is going to struggle to get back above that, and it's very likely to fail coming back into this territory. If you even get that spike up to about $88,000, you could theoretically, on the tick, enter a short trade, stop loss just above that, and then you're looking to rally this down to, $60,000 to $70,000. Okay, that is the reality. That is how trading works. You don't have to do this, but if you want to take the trade, that would be it. I already have a couple of trades on the table in the form of shorts. Apple re-entered obviously into that. Got the PIPPIN short. We got the MicroStrategy short. That's paying massive dividends. So it's like you don't have to short everything, right? You can if you want to, but I prefer to maintain a handful of trades that I can monitor. And then we got the long trades on. Monero, XMR up 24%. We have gold up 5%. ETH only up 2%. Of course, if Bitcoin breaks down in that kind of fashion, it's going to wreck Ethereum. We're going to have to cut that position as well as Monero, to be honest. So I would say we're pretty hedged in the sense that you can move your stop losses to break even on both the longs and the shorts, and then let the market decide what it wants to do next. Okay. Alrighty, let's see what's next. So we've got that covered. If you do want to take the short trade, by the way, guys, if you do want to take the short trade, remember, using the link in the description below, there is a $30,000 sign-up bonus for, I guess, one of the most liquid exchanges in the world, which is Bybit. That is a massive, massive incentive if you are looking to take advantage of that Christmas special. And happy holidays to all of you, by the way, for those of you already on vacation. If you are looking for that, sign up over there. You're getting a guaranteed $50 if you're new and you've never used Bybit. Guaranteed $50 sign-up bonus and up to $30,000 as well. Just read exactly what you need to do for that. There's even a video. There's a video just below that shows you how to claim your bonus. Alrighty, let's move into the altcoin sector, right? BTC is fighting for its life over here to defend this level. We said that pretty much a hard stop at 0.03308. That's the level. 0.00308. You want to hold that zone over there. We want to see this start to mark up. It's always difficult to be long on anything when Bitcoin is going down, though. So this is a tiny position relative to my account size, but I'm still going to hold the position over here. Very, very, very small position over there on ETH. And we can look at the ETH price chart. When I spoke about it yesterday, I said there's a very high probability you're going to come back for these lows. And that's following the price move up into the golden pocket, and it came down. So you can see this trend line that's beginning to form. And I'll change the color to, let's go with purple, and we'll make it nice and big for you to see clearly. There we go. Maybe we need a lighter purple than that. We'll go with that one. There we go. So you can see that line over there. It's coming in as support. If you start to close below this line, you'll also be losing a strong horizontal area of support. And therefore, you're probably going to breach down to new lows. So I'll be looking to cut that long trade on ETH if price doesn't bounce from here on ETH, right? So if we start to consolidate like that, I'm just going to cut the trade. That's it. Otherwise, if this is going to move, you need it to begin to move up very quickly. And your confirmation that you're moving into strength means reclaiming the 50% level, which is the $3,270 zone, right? That's the level. Saylor said 150K by end of year. I mean, maybe he's talking about Zim dollars. I don't know. That's possible. So if he's talking about US dollars, I have to disagree. Politely disagree over there. Okay, so we got ETH over there. Next, XRP getting dangerous, getting really dangerous, because we spoke about this. I told you if you gain acceptance under this yellow box, you're probably going to begin to mark down all the way. You probably, now you guys are bringing up Tom Lee. Tom Lee, also 200K end of year. Now he changed his mind, right? 5-year cycle theory. Here we go. Next year, 6-year cycle. Okay, so there we go. Gaining acceptance underneath the zone over here means a full retrace down to 62 cents. Solana, we have to talk about Solana. Why do we have to talk about Solana? Because there's this massive Ondo summit that's coming up in February of next year. And there's all the big dogs, right? All the big dogs that know it all the best analysts in the world, those guys that all of you should tune into and listen to every day. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, constantly selling the bottom and buying the top. The exact financial advice you're looking for coming up soon at the Ondo conference. And they have partnered with Solana, right? They're going to be launching tokenized stocks and ETFs on Solana in early 2026. What does that mean for price? Well, I would say that still you're probably coming down to $100, and then you can just assess the strength, right? So I would, on a serious note, all jokes aside, if you start to see reaccumulation over here between about like $80 and $100 leading into that event, maybe there could start to be some relief. I wouldn't necessarily say all-time highs, but at least some major relief, which is going to be a good opportunity to trade. That is Solana. SUI continues to be extremely bearish. We're looking for low prices. Pretty much that's it. Look at that. How beautiful, right? New lows. There we go. Officially taken out the 10th of October. Massive liquidation event. If you thought you woke up one morning and you were in pain by being down from high to low in pretty much 48 hours, 74% down, and you thought you made it all back, well, you're reliving that moment. You're back, right? You're back to those lows, and I expect this to continue to bleed down. It's unbelievable. Okay. Say also, Cardano doing or leading the way to XRP's journey, right? It's already doing what XRP is going to do, which is down to 33 cents. We said for XRP, it's in that 60-cent zone. We have AVAX distributing down to new lows. We have TON wrecked. We have Casper wrecked. We have Tron as well. Actually, one of the few chains that are heavily used, of course, because most people that are doing stablecoin transactions are doing it on Tron. But all you need is a little bit of Tron for gas fees. So it's not going to be an up-only chart, and it's distributing as well. We already spoke about XPL, which is Plasma. Let's just do a quick refresh over there. 1 second, guys. Sometimes these TradingView things get stuck. So we'll go back onto Plasma. Wrecked, right? Straight down. Absolutely unbelievable. Pump. Also giving up all of those gains. This is what I warned of yesterday. I said that just be careful because there's a chance that ETH is going to follow a similar path to Pump. If it starts to break below, this is what I expect to happen next. And that's why I would immediately cut that ETH trade if we saw that. And this could be leading the way, right? So Pump coming down. We don't have much technical stuff to work with because Pump.fun is not that old. Very, very, very young chart history. And therefore, we need price action to develop. There's nothing you can do over here. And I don't know why you'd ever go long on this anyway when Bitcoin's even at such risk, right? When the king is at risk, the peasants will fall. Nice little quotes over there for you guys. You should all go on Twitter and tweet that out now. Okay, hype on its way down to our first target, 23, after that 19 and then 17. Asta getting absolutely cooked over here. I saw something come out with a big seller. I think they deposited, was like between $9 and $14 million to Binance, and they just market sold everything. So big dump off over there. Let price redevelop, bearish until it can get back above 98. Apex making its move down. We spoke about this, starting to move in aggressive fashion, very similar to Asta, and we're looking for that move down to 28 cents over there. Okay, these are all going to be rinsed. Let's not even waste our time. We'll go to Ondo because we have the almighty conference, right? We got the big suits. The big suits are coming for Ondo. They're going to pump it to the moon. Well, I don't know. Maybe the moon isn't where you thought it was, because to me, it looks like the moon is here. 20 cents. Wrecked, right? Wrecked. BNB, one of the strongest coins out there. We did speak about it at the time. Bearish retest into there. We're looking for the full retrace down to 666. Crazy number. 666 all the way into the horizontal support over there. Maybe it will find support with this trend line. Technical bounce off of that zone. Okay, cool. Wrecked on BitGet token. Full retrace, in my opinion, all the way down to 152. So basically, look, don't cry. Don't cry and tell me there's no opportunities out there. This is pretty much, you can just short this right over here. This is because if it's going to move all the way down and you're looking for trades, I'm pretty confident that this is going to move all the way down to 164. It's just whether the exchange is going to get you liquidated because they see you opening the positions over there. But either way, you can just re-enter again. gravity will take its course over here, and that's going to be a 52% downside move. So stops just above. If you get stopped out on a little spike higher, take it on the chin, just re-enter again. As soon as you trade below here, this thing is going down like an absolute rock in the ocean. There you go. As soon as you drop that line, boom, this thing's going to nuke. Okay. So that is BitGet token, another rec chart. This is, if you want to see where BitGet's going, just come and look at Chronos. BitGet's still trading somewhere up here. So looking for full retraces, you pretty much got it. OKB, here's another free trade for you. Let's just quickly line this one up. Formula One season's over. So we know they sponsor McLaren. McLaren won, but now it was priced in, right? Now we can go down again. So there's another trade for you. You can basically take that for another 53% move. Scale into that trade over here. You got a little bit of a trend forming. As soon as you break that line, it's cooked. That's OKB. Right. Look at that. I mean, on its way to zero. Aether on its way to zero. Tau down to 195, same level that we spoke about yesterday. Render is absolutely rinsed. There you go, absolutely rinsed. As soon as you take out those lows, you're talking about 47. Terrible stuff, right? Get grass. I mean, maybe you should go and touch grass. Let's just leave it at that. FET all the way down. This thing could easily break below these lows, but this is all massive support, but such a strong downtrend over there. So zero gravity, wrecked. SPX coming in for those lows. I think it's going to sweep that yellow line, which means it's dropping below 44. Yeah, let's keep going. So PIPPIN, yes, PIPPIN is still strong. Let's go to PIPPIN. It's still strong, but I'm busy scaling into the short trade. We spoke about 3 drives higher, typical Elliott wave count, 3 waves up, 2 waves down. So, you're looking at something like that. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, maybe a little bit of a pullback, and then 1 more wave up. So either way, we're scaling into that trade. We believe this thing is going to nuke just like the rest of them. It's just a matter of time. Link. Okay, Link also coming all the way back down below $10. And that's it. We literally went through the whole list. No, we didn't go through all of these, but we went through most of the list. There is, of course, we can do requests. If you have anything in particular that you're looking for, let me know. Drop it in the comments over there. Something that I missed. We did hype. So you guys are asking for hype. We did hype. What else? Zcash. Yeah, we can have a look at Zcash. So Zcash, that's probably it. It's not going to make it up here. I think that next time, the next move is now back down to 304. Once you break 304, there's the drawing. That's your trajectory. This ultimately resolves to about, between $50 and $70. $50 to $70. That's the number. So also, guys, if you want to copy the Apple trade that I just reopened again because we closed it yesterday, you can. It is linked below. If you just go to copy the strategies for Pinex in the description, it should pop up. There we go. It is. There we go. You got everything over here. So all the price range levels, if you want to see things, are here. Keep in mind, ETH, you can enter pretty much exactly the same price. We've ran this bot for about 20 days. I'm going to cancel this very soon if it doesn't get moving. So we're giving ETH a chance, but it's running out of time. Gold as well, only up marginally, like 5% up. So if you want to take that as well, I still think that gold is going to move. Monero, I think you missed it. You got to wait for a bit of a pullback. PIPPIN, you can take, actively scaling into that trade over the coming weeks. MicroStrategy, too late, way too late. 46 days in this trade, over 1,000% up. Those are the main positions over there. Okay, let's quickly see the poll over here. 1,231 of you have voted, and we've got 1.5 of you watching. So most of you have voted, and it's still split. Unbelievably, it's still split. Okay, still split in terms of like bullish versus bearish, because we can basically say that flat correction or bull market, deep correction in extended cycle, these guys are bullish into 2026 and maybe 2027, and then bear market theorists, 48% of you, which I'm in that camp. I believe that, pretty much this is a bear market and it's playing out just like before. Okay. We covered XMR. We did Monero already. We did Tesla as well. I can go to the Monero price chart because I don't know if we actually looked at the trading view. So there it is. We spoke about it yesterday. It's grinding up slowly. As soon as this begins to trade over 435 in that region, you're going to be flipping your previous highs into support. And then you're looking at your cup and handle. This is so there you go. You got your cup. Here it is. You got your cup. You got your handle. And the confirmation is breaking above the neckline. And then you're going to extend, which is crazy. It's crazy to think that maybe Bitcoin is going to go down and break down that bear flag. And this is going to go up. It's like the market is wild at the moment. This is stuff that we haven't really seen before. Random old things from like dino kind of coins, old stuff, old technology, privacy sector running, rotating out of Zcash into Monero. That we highlighted that at the time when I went short there, and then we started to look for the longs over here. Grid setup on Tesla. Look, I don't want to set up a grid on Tesla because I feel like it would be chasing price. You can do it. Of course you can do it. But I just feel like it will be chasing price because this was the original trade setup over here. And then I guess that was the flush, the opportunity if you wanted to relong, which I covered on the show. So, I mean, if you are looking for that grid trade, basically set your grid down with your lower grid. So you're going to put low grid, 378, which means it's going to buy from here down into that. And then, so I'll highlight that area. That becomes your buy zone. And then you're going to put your sell grid up to 420. So you're going to write in Pinex, low price, 375, high price, 418 on long, put on long. And then basically this becomes the sell zone. So that instead of this risk to reward that I've drawn out, this would be your risk to reward. It's basically like, buy there, stops below, and sells up here. Okay, so I'm not looking to take this trade because, we spoke about it down here, 250, 260, getting back above that mid-range over there. And this can move because this is a long-term range. The longer the range, the bigger the breakout when that breakout does occur. And this is quite a while. In terms of a range, you can basically, let's take it to there. That's almost 2,000 days. 2,000 days, a long time. A multi-year range, which means you should take this seriously. And this stuff's less manipulated than crypto. It's more regulated. It is regulated, not more regulated. Crypto is not regulated. This is regulated. And therefore, this range can be taken seriously. It will probably mark up in quite an aggressive way. Okay, so look, we look at a bunch of different markets. We look at different things. It's up to you to, breach beyond crypto is what I would say. Just because crypto is cooked doesn't mean that there isn't opportunities, because you can short crypto and long other stuff. There's always a bull market somewhere. All right, guys, look, if you want more information, remember, jump into Whale Room. This is the Discord where we're obviously dropping all the information. I'm not the only person there. There's other traders. As you can see over here, you got Forex, NASDAQ trades. We got gold trades over here. We have, quant traders dropping a whole bunch of different trades as well, looking at answering all your questions, helping you with your strategies. So if you want these trades, you can see long, shorts all over the place. I'm not the only trader in there. And if you want to stay in touch with me over the course of the vacation period, that's where you're going to need to get me, because I'm not going to be doing shows, right? I'm going to be on YouTube until the end of this week. I was going to continue to next week, but of course, look at what the market looks like. So there's no point. So I'll update everybody in the Discord. Anyone that wants to join, you need to go through to Whale Room. If you want the information for Whale Trade site, that's free, right? Just click that link over here and you'll get all of this info. Then you can see what our traders are doing on the side here. Let me move my head out the way. One second. Let me move my head out the way. So if you look over here on the side, you'll see all the various different trades, right? All the different trades over here of the traders are there for you to see as well. So guys, that is it from me. I will see all of you on tomorrow's video. We'll run it again into the Bank of Japan interest rate probable hike coming up on, I think it's on Wednesday and Thursday. I'll cover you on Friday. And then that's it. I'm out. I have to take a bit of a holiday, recharge, refresh, and I'll see the rest of you on Whale Room. Cheers for now.